Hey, it's Greg here with MaritimeGardening.com. I'm just inoculating, I guess that's the term, for a log here to grow shiitake mushrooms. And this is a follow-up to a conversation I had. I'll put a link to the video with Jessica Wolf from Grow Mushrooms Canada. She sent me this kit for shiitake mushrooms, and it's got a lot in it. So, I mean, there's lots of videos on this, but since I had her on the podcast and she sent me this nice kit, I thought I'd just do a short video walking through the process of getting this all set up. It takes a year or two for the log to actually start producing. Now what we got here is these little, you got a bag here, it's kept cold, you got to keep it in the fridge so you use it. And they're little plugs, like they look like dowels, almost like when you get those IKEA kits and you got to put the furniture together, very similar to that. And the idea is you drill holes in the log, you put the plug in, and then you put wax over the top. The kit comes with some of this flaked wax. It melts really easily. It came in this box. And it also comes with these little, I think this is called maybe a dibbler? I can't remember what this is called. Anyway, it's a little fuzzy thing on the end of a stick. So you get some sort of setup like this. This is not recommended for use indoors. This is a naphtha, like a really old-fashioned, you pump it up. Kind of like a bomb. A bomb that'll cook your soup. So more of an outdoor thing. But you put the wax in a little container. You see there's wax in there, leftover wax. And heat it up until it melts. And then you use this little dauber, or whatever it's called, to get the wax in this little, it sucks up into this little cotton ball thing. And you just dab it onto the places where you've put the dowels in, which is what I've done with this log. In terms of the depth, I mean, it's pretty easy to do. You need a drill bit that's roughly the same diameter as the dowel. I believe it's like 5/16, like just over 1/4 inch, which is what I use, which is a tight fit. I had to use a hammer to get these in. I could have gone a little bigger, I guess, but my understanding is that you want it pretty snug anyway. So the easiest way, and there's all kinds of fanciful ways you can get a sort of depth gauge for your drill bit, but the cheapest one is just to use one of the drill bit, or there's even special tools you can get for this, but the cheapest thing to do is just get some, electrical tape or any old kind of tape. Stick your finger over the top. It's gonna actually come down a bit past the profile of the tip. That's fine. Get a sense of where the dowel ends, right? Right, ends right about there. And just wrap the tape around it, nice and tight. You might have to replace, I mean, you got to drill a lot of holes to do this, so you might have to replace it once or twice, but this is a pretty cheap setup, and you can see it's the right depth. Right, as you drill the holes, this gets pushed back, and all you got to do is just stick it back on and add another layer of tape, and just keep doing that till you're done. You can use a marker or something like that, or paint or whatever, but I find the tape is just easier to do. When you're putting the dowels in, this is a 4-foot log that's roughly 4 inches in diameter, and something like 50 or 60 dowels is what's recommended. What you're kind of doing is, all of these dowels have a, whatever fungus it is that creates this mushroom, fungi. So you're kind of inoculating, I like the word infecting, the wood with that fungus, right? You use a tree that's been recently cut down. It's got to be a hardwood. It's like maple or birch or alder. I'll put a link to their website. There's the different types of trees they recommend, but you want a deciduous tree. You don't want an evergreen. Every fungus has a type of tree biology you can work with, and a type of tree biology you can't work with. For this one here, maple trees are plentiful where I live, as are birch, as are alder. You use what you got, right? I had a neighbor cut down a tree, and this is part of the tree, but this is recently cut down. If you get into the bark here, you see that it's still green in there, right? It's a fresh tree. Okay. So you drill the hole, and then you tap this in, and then you put the wax over top. Let me just show you that in action. So with this log, I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I've got one here. You try to put it in a sort of diamond pattern, but the main point is you get good coverage, right? It's not perfect. You don't have to be a perfectionist with this, but you're getting them all in there, right? And the reason you're putting the wax is to hold the moisture in the log, but also prevent other spores of other mushrooms from getting into the log. You want this log to have one kind of mushroom growing out of it, not many kinds, where some of them are suspect. Let's put it that way, right? So yeah, I mean, all you do is you drill your hole, right, until the till your depth battery's almost dead. There, so that's roughly to my depth gauge. Then you set the dowel in place. I'll do this one-handed here, and just tap her in. See the water coming out of that. I don't know if you can see that. It's all shiny. All right, there's water in the log, and there's water in the dowel, water content. Right, and then you just melt the wax and dab that on to seal it. And that's ready. And then you want to put it somewhere outside, somewhere where there's shade. Like if you've got a little clutch of trees, or maybe one really big tree or something like that, some shady part, or just a naturally shady part of a property. Or if you don't have a property, maybe there's some place you can, some friend you can stick it on their property. You do all this work. This is a lot of work, actually. I didn't do this all in one night. I got a number of logs. They gave me so much of this. I gave some to a friend. I'm giving a little bit more to a friend, but I've done 3 logs with this. So it's a lot, right? It's a lot of holes. I recommend, you can see, it would have been nicer to do the video outside on the lawn, that sort of thing. But doing it down on the ground, it's, it was sort of hard on the knees, hard on the back. I recommend getting it up on a workbench like this so you can sort of, get at it. But it's a lot of holes to drill. Now, the good thing is that once you've done this, it takes about a year or so, maybe 2 years for it to start producing. But then you're going to get, I think Jessica told me, the log will produce for 7 to 10 years or something like that. So, one of these, let's say it takes to drill all the holes 15 minutes. And then hammer all the dowels in another 15 minutes. And then to do all this waxing another 15 minutes. So just for a round number, to do one 4-foot log like this, it might take an hour depending on how fast you work. And just how able you are to do that sort of thing, okay? If you're doing it by yourself. So be forewarned, it does take time and effort. And if you're running a kit like this, you're not going to just be doing one log, you're going to be doing a bunch. Unless you go in, share the cost with a friend, and split them, right? Because you get a lot of these dowels in here, a lot, okay? But then you want to put this outside. You don't put it right on the ground, you have it up off the ground. I'm going to show you how. I'm putting them out today. It's a nice rainy day. It's a little bit late in the year for doing this. It's November now. But if I don't do it now, everything's going to be frozen soon. So typically you might want to do this earlier in the fall, I guess. But Jessica said that, the fungus in here, it's pretty robust, and it takes a while anyway. And certainly freezing doesn't kill it, because, it's going to freeze every year where I live anyway, right? And the zone, I mean, they have guidelines on their website. Again, I'll put a link to that, but it's pretty forgiving in terms of zone. I mean, I'm in zone 6A here, but according to her, these mushrooms survive outdoors, much colder growing zones. So let's go put this outside. Hopefully the rain isn't too bad and we can get this all positioned. Okay, here was where I got the logs stored. You can see I got them up on the ground, up off the ground. So this log here underneath, this doesn't have any mushroom spores in it. These are just logs I'm using to keep them off the ground. So it's near the ground, but off the ground. And I've got them spaced apart. Because you're going to have mushrooms coming in, on the sides and stuff, right? So you want to be able to get at the mushrooms that come up. And of course, I can adjust them as time goes by. On the spot I've chosen here it's behind the house. This is the place where I store my canoes, where it's out of the wind. But I'm underneath this thick evergreen tree cover, right? So it's sort of blocked from the sun. The woods are thick over here. That direction is south. So it's sort of completely shielded from the south sun. This is where I store my larger plastic domes to sort of keep them out of the weather and that sort of thing. I could have had them tucked in there underneath them. That would have been fine too. But I don't want to be tripping over the logs where I've got my mushrooms when I'm getting those in and out of storage. But that little spot in here would have been totally fine as well. It's just unfortunate this is where I store those domes. So I got them over here, tucked away. But this is also just fine. Right underneath some trees, you know, blocked from the southern exposure. Out of the weather, but every time it rains, these are going to get rained on, right? They're going to get snowed on, right? They're exposed to moisture, but shielded from the sun, that sort of thing. So I think this will be a good spot. We'll see what happens. This is not going to happen quickly. It's going to take a while, right? These will be covered in snow over the course of the winter. The snow will melt in the spring, and this will be exposed to rains. And the air can get at these logs, but sort of less than, this is not a spot where they'll get dried out well because it's shielded from the sun, that sort of thing. All right, so just a quick video on what's happening with those mushroom spores for the shiitake mushrooms. I shared some with some friends as well, friends that don't live too far away, so if they have results, they'll be fine with letting me show you that as well. Maybe they did something better than me, maybe they got a better spot. We'll see what happens over time. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. If you're interested in trying this, or also with the wine cap mushrooms or any of the other kits they sell at growmushrooms.ca, use my coupon code. I got a little link there. You can get a deal. Say, you know, I can't remember what the deal is, 10% off or that sort of thing. Check that out and give them some business. It's a small company. You know, I'm not getting anything out of this. I'm not getting a percentage or anything like that. It's a small company, like many small companies trying to make it. So, you know, go with them and try out the product. I was really happy with the wine cap mushrooms I got from them, so I can't wait. And I use shiitake mushrooms often in my cooking. I was just in a store the other day that sells them, and it's probably the best price in town. And still, it's not cheap. Like for, you know, a package that might have like 2 or 3 cups worth of mushrooms, it's like $8. Right, shiitake mushrooms are not cheap. So yeah, to get a little kit like this, I don't know what it costs, 20, 30 bucks, something like that in shipping, but it's worth it because you're going to be getting many more dollars in value out of that. Even if you split the cost with a friend or just give them away and share them with friends and that sort of thing, you're going to get your money back. It's a good deal. All right, so I hope you found this interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.